But you're growing this stuff in Colorado and then you're shipping it to get packaged in New York. What is it like running a business like this across state lines?
The way that, I mean, yes, we grow in Colorado when we process in Colorado because that's where the cultivar is, that's where the farm is, that's where the 4,300 square foot CGMP manufacturing facility with white room and white room registered with the FDA is on the farm. So those things aren't going to move. So obviously, I hooked up with them, so I get to work with their cultivar and their facility. So that's where that is. I'm born and raised in New York City, even though I've lived in Florida and California and I'm a New Yorker. So since I live in Kingston, New York nowadays, and I'm an adult with a disability, although I'm not on Social Security disability or anything like this, I employ people who are. So that's a big part of our mission is I hooked up with the ARC, which is a national charity for adults with disabilities. And they have offices in about 30 states. It's an $80 million charity. They open their doors to me and a few other small businesses like mine. I mean, they're not in hemp, but they're in food and beverage in Ulster County, which is where I live, which does $500 million a year in food and beverage, including dairy. So we're basically the farm area of New York City and parts of Connecticut.
So weird. You never think there's a farm area of New York City.
Ulster County, Hudson Valley, it's where, a lot of food is grown organically for high-end New York City restaurants and people and all that kind of stuff. So I'm in this area and they gave me office space. So over here, we do packing and shipping. And then sales, I go on sales calls and I only have 2 employees right now. Before COVID, we had 5. But, between assisted living houses for people who live in assisted living, not being able to come out to work, numerous reasons. But we have 2 employees now. So I take them out on different days with me to do sales. We're starting up at the farmers markets again. We do Saugerties farmers markets all summer. So it's pretty much just packing and shipping in New York. Simple jobs, over and over, repeat the process, like bottle goes in this box. And
your 2 employees you connected with through the ARC.
Yeah, yes. I mean, it's basically, I came to Kingston on a different project that didn't work out because I'm an entrepreneur and I try to do projects and sometimes they don't work out. So as a result of that not working out, that's where I met the ARC and they offered to potentially work adults with disabilities for gainful employment. And then they would give me a lease for, dollars per square foot less than the normal, but I have to employ their members for X number of hours per week to be a compliant tenant there.
Gotcha.
Feels good and it's cool. And they've been a very good landlord to me and to my partners. And it's just been a unique experience.
Who are the 2 that are working with you currently? Who do you have?
I have Ivar and Sean. And so Sean is younger. Sean's like 24, just turned 24. Ivar is a few years older than me. I'm 42. So it's a very unique, fun experience. Sometimes we work together. Sometimes we don't. Sean has been to the farm twice now with me and worked on the farm. That's been fun and cool, but different personalities. Ivar does packing and shipping. Sean is more of a salesman, loves to talk to people and is more extrovert. Ivar is also a black belt, in karate.
I read that. Yeah, I was like, badass.
He's like, yeah, want to mess with one of my guys? Like, yeah, we're tough guys over here too.
And Sean is known as the Colorado Cowboy.
That's right. He got a cowboy hat at a rancher store. Thought it'd be fun for him. And just because of his, again, unique personality, fun-loving spirit, the woman who was helping us get the Western wear comes down to the cash register. And Sean at the time was also getting his former girlfriend and wanted to get her a gift. But the lady came down and without anything, she handed her, the checkout person, her card and said, use my discount for his stuff, not mine, for Sean's. So Sean got the employee's discount on all of his stuff, which allowed him then to be able to get a necklace too.
Oh my gosh, that's a charismatic person.
Yeah. It was cool. And that's how charismatic the kid is, the young man. It's like, I walk around with him. I'm not his dad. I'm not brother. I'm I'm Brad. I'm his boss technically. And when you go on a trip with, I guess, adults with disabilities, now I've never done that before. His mother handed me his driver's license. Like, you're his guardian now. Okay. Wow. All right. Didn't know 100% that would be how it worked out. It worked out fine. But It was new. It gives me something fun to do beyond just going to work, a typical employees in this kind of business where it's a lower paying minimum wage type of job, putting stickers on things or closing packages or doing packing and shipping. I'm not fielding people with master's degrees to come work in the office. So my experience has been adults with disabilities is the way to go because these are people that are in a 90% unemployment rate, which means they're all looking for jobs. So they're very happy to get a job. So you're getting like a very happy person in the situation just to be there, different than your average person. And then your average person who has to do this minimum wage type of job, a lot of times if they're 20, 30, 40 years old, like maybe something's not as good in their life. They haven't had as good of a time. Maybe they have their own whatever's going on there. So they're not that fun to be with. But then it's all about me. It's my business, it's my money, and it's my time. So I'm like, I don't want to be in a room with Debbie Downer. I prefer to be in a room with like a person who's just happy to be there, wants to do well, and okay, well, maybe their physical abilities aren't as good as somebody else who doesn't have a disability, but their attitude's better and they work hard and just a better situation. And it's worked out between you have to employ X number of members, X number of hours a week, have a lower rent payment than where I live. Kingston is one of the hottest pieces of real estate in the United States of America right now. I've been here for 8 years. It wasn't cool when I came, but now it's like the Tesla and the Range Rover crowds are coming.
I feel you.
So to have a lower rent because I employ adults with disabilities is a business advantage too.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
We do our milligrams in total cannabinoids because we're not a CBD company. We're a cannabinoid company. We're focused on CBD at this point because this is what people know about. We're allowed to be focused on 113 more cannabinoids leading with. We just can't focus on THC leading with because that would make it, of course, marijuana.
Oh, the red tape. Oh my gosh.
So our first product's the full spectrum tincture. Our second product in that same line is that same ingredients, but put into a soft gel. And again, that's vegan. So we use carrageenan, which is Irish moss, to make it into a soft gel. So we have that in soft gels, and those are 35 milligram soft gels. I sent you the soft gels.
Thank you.
Then we also, in the tincture category, we have a water-soluble tincture, which was 600 milligrams of full spectrum CBD and more than that in other cannabinoids. The other tinctures are broad spectrum. So broad spectrum, we've removed the THC cannabinoid. So this has zero THC. It's our one product with no THC for people who are not interested in THCs. And that has 2,500 milligrams of total cannabinoids, about 2,350 milligrams of CBD.
So how much do you take a day? Like how much should folks be considering using a day?
So for general people, for general wellness, what I always recommend is I say, look at the Epidiolex study, which is the first FDA approved CBD drug. And what they did is they did 2 milligrams per kilo of body weight is what they did.
Now I'm going to have to think about what a kilo is.
So 2 milligrams per kilo of body weight, which is 2.2 pounds per kilo. But let's just be super American, which means you're going to be lazier than a proper Brit. So even though it's 2.2 pounds per kilo, let's just go with 2. So then it's basically like 1 milligram for every pound.
Okay. All right. That makes my life easier.
If you're 100 pounds, you need 100 milligrams. So even though you need a little bit more than that, but doing the layman American version.
That's the general lazy man's way of figuring that out.
But that's for general wellness people. I'm not general wellness. I have epilepsy. So people with epilepsy or autoimmune disease and high-level pain and things like this, what the Mayo Clinic recommends for persons in this category is a minimum of 300 milligrams a day. So again, I'm a 200-pound person with epilepsy, and I've had a lot of injuries, so I'm like Evel Knievel. I have a lot of little pain centers sometimes. So I'm taking at least 500 milligrams, probably close to 1,000 milligrams a day of CBD. And that's in numerous ways.
Like what, are you drinking tincture and downing soft gels, or are there other ways that you ingest CBD?
So I have this Better Balm. Better Balm is raw shea butter, which I sent you, with lemongrass. And it's quite nice. And it's just a very good moisturizer. But, I put a little of that stuff on. It's nice. I use all my own.
Of course. That's kind of why you got into it. Like you were making stuff for yourself.
It was first for me, and I'm sharing. Same thing with Bradford tonic. I did things for myself, and I figured out how they work and like them. And then, people like them, people want to try them. And it's like, all right, well, it's a business too.
So now folks can sign up online and get these ordered. Is it across every state?
Yes, we ship nationwide.
I love this business model, and I love the focus on how cannabinoids in general, it's an entourage effect. It's not just CBD. And if it is just CBD, it's probably not going to do as much for you because it's just this isolated thing as if you had all those minor cannabinoids, that full extract hemp oil.
And I'll tell you the truth, CBD isolate, it works, but doesn't work as medically efficaciously as it works when the other cannabinoids are present. So like CBD isolate, I've used it, I've made gummies with it, I've dabbed it and felt good, but it's scientifically proven it's not as effective as with all the other ones. We used to sell CBD isolate at Hennepen's, and that was a SKU from last season. This season, we discontinued our CBD isolate and we replaced it with the broad spectrum because the science showed I wanted always to have a cannabis product for persons that don't want THC. There's a lot of reasons to not want THC, between mental reasons why not, and jobs is a major issue. My job doesn't allow this. And people who have bipolar or schizophrenia, it's not ideal to use THC. So like, you wouldn't want that. Children, whatever it is. So we always want to have a product with no THC. It's just CBD isolate was more available for us to do originally. So we did that as our offering with no THC. Now we've perfected broad spectrum. So even though it would have the same amount of milligrams as the CBD isolate, it would go further with the effects because of that entourage effect. Which, another thing I just to bring up when I talk about cannabis is hemp and these other minor cannabinoids, they are psychoactive. They're just not psychotropic. So THC is the only psychotropic cannabinoid that can get you like high. But why would you take CBD or these other minor cannabinoids? They don't get you high. Well, a lot of people say they do get you high. And I say, no, it's not getting you high. It's having a psychotropic experience, meaning you felt one way. And no, you shouldn't feel the exact same way after you take this. What the hell's the point of taking this then? So you feel a different way, but it's not psychotropic, it's psychoactive. Another example of psychoactivity with experience would be coffee. Caffeine's psychoactive. Or you give a tired adult coffee in the morning and they drink it and they're percolated, they're awake. That's a psychoactive experience. That's the same kind of experience, not that you're awake from CBD or whatever other minor cannabinoids, but it's changing your mind state from where it is to a different place.
I remember the first time I tried a CBD lozenge, and about half an hour later it set in and my body felt like it just slightly melted. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of a melt. But it was so noticeable. Like I had been holding tension. That's what it was. It let me let go of that tension. Like it just changed something about the way the chemicals in my body were working. But I really felt it. But like you said, I wasn't high. I wasn't out of my mind. I was just feeling a little like maybe I'd had like a shot of tequila, like a little buzz, something like that.
Part of our secret sauce is we don't only use the full spectrum extract of the cannabis oil. We also use CBDA, which is the acid form. So Dr. Raphael Maloukham, who discovered CBD and THC, the world's foremost cannabis expert out of Israel, that guy. So he says that CBDA and THCA, which is the molecule, it's not a cannabinoid yet at that stage with the A on it, it's a molecule. He's saying THCA and CBDA as a molecule has way more medical efficacy than THC or CBD as a cannabinoid.
So that's the raw version of the bud before it's been through the decarboxylation process and been heated, changed to THC.
Yes, ma'am. So with that being said, our blend is a proprietary combination of both.
Oh, so you've got some of that raw extract and then you've got some of the decarbed extract.
We're the lab too. It's our cultivar and it's our lab. And I can say our because the farming family, they're not looking for name recognition. They work with me on the human side of the things. They're working with a pet company too, on a big supply level. But for human stuff, I'm basically the guy they work with. So we can co-pack for other people. We're starting to get some orders to do so, but they're just letting me run with it. They're not interested in the fame or the whatever. So